there is one thing that the recent comments by Karl Rove suggesting that former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has brain damage have reminded us. It's that women still face an uphill battle when running for office. Women account for just 20% of the Senate and less than 18% of the House. And if you think these slowly improving numbers would encourage more young women to seek office, you would be wrong. Women aged 18 to 25 are 20% more likely to have never considered running for office than their male counterparts. That's according to a new study by American University School of Public Affairs. This is actually a larger gender gap than the same researchers found among older pools of potential candidates, suggesting that progress on gender equality in politics is far from inevitable. Our next guest is looking to buck the trend and knows a thing or two about having accusations thrown her way. Sandra Fluke is running for California State Senate in the newly created 26th District, and she joins us now in the guest spot. Sandra, I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate it. So women are less likely to think of themselves as candidates, to decide to run for office than men. How much of that hesitation is because of fears of attacks like what Hillary is seeing from Karl Rove and the sorts of unfair media treatments that women are still subjected to as candidates?
I think that is part of it, and that's why when I was thinking about how I wanted to respond to the circumstances that I was in, it was really important to me that I not come away as a cautionary tale, that you shouldn't step forward, that you shouldn't be in the public spotlight, you shouldn't speak out, even for young girls, that you shouldn't raise your hand in class. I wanted them to understand that if you faced this kind of criticism, there was a way to respond in which a lot of people would stand with you and say this is inappropriate. And so that was really important to me. But I think it's important to keep calling out the sexism, the unfair treatment, and to keep moving past it and showing that this doesn't have to get in your way as a candidate. And people do see this for what it is, and they don't base their vote on it in most cases.
Yeah, and I think that the common reaction to the fact that many women aren't running today is, well, that's okay, because younger women are going to be a lot more inclined to run because they don't face the same overt barriers that many of the women before them faced. But I want to bring up this survey that Crystal mentioned earlier that shows the difference between young people, young women specifically, the college age, wanting to run versus even women that are years older than them. And the gap actually widens, which is very surprising. Why are we not seeing more progress here?
Well, I think we need to do more investment in programs like Running Start that work with young girls and try to help them think about themselves as being political leaders, because that's one of the things the study talks about, is that it's imagining yourself being in elected office and being a leader is one of the keys for young people. But beyond that, part of the problem is we still haven't made progress on some of the barriers that keep women out. Things like affordable access to childcare, because we are still disproportionately caretakers in our families, and that matters for a lot of employment areas, but it matters for elected office as well. And we're still not where we need to be on campaign finance reform, and so women are still at a disadvantage because folks often don't donate as much to female candidates either, and that's a big barrier.
Something Crystal faced as well, I remember.
Yeah, we have to push through it, though.
Yes. Yes.
You have become a potent symbol for the left and for the right. And one thing that was interesting that you said to the Washington Post, everybody gets defined by other people. The trick is to define yourself. Really interesting idea. So define yourself for us. How do you see Sandra Fluke in terms of the national political conversation?
Well, I think that I'm an example of a new generation of progressive leadership. I would include some of the folks around this table in that conversation as well, where we're stepping beyond some of the old fights and looking for real solutions that are practical and feasible, but we're really taking on some things that have been entrenched problems. Things like affordable access to higher education that's been getting worse rather than better, as well as figuring out ways to move forward on reproductive rights, not just be on defense. Showing that LGBTQ rights includes trans folks as well. There's a whole generation that is really stepping forward, and you certainly can't leave the dreamers out of that because they've been incredible leadership in that way.
There are a lot of competitive women candidates in elections on the west side of L.A. Next month, not just in your race, but also for Congress, for state assembly, for the powerful Board of Supervisors in the
That's
county.
right.
Are people excited about that, the possibility that a lot of women candidates might get elected this time?
They are, absolutely. The Argonaut just did a piece on it locally, and I think we're very excited to see so many women running because we've had a real problem in Los Angeles. We actually only have one woman on the Los Angeles City Council and in all of Los Angeles elected government. And I'm proud to have her endorsement, but I wish she weren't quite so lonely being the only woman there. So we're excited to have so many women in the race, but that also brings out a certain hesitancy from folks sometimes that, oh, there are lots of women, I shouldn't commit. And that's another barrier that we have to get past, is that it's great that there are lots of women and pro-choice progressive women to choose from, and now let's get behind them as well.
Absolutely. Sandra Fluke, it's so great to have you here. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
and good luck. We're cheering for you.
Thank you very much.